Hey everybody, it's an absolutely gorgeous day here outside of Ironworks in downtown Beloit, and I'm actually, don't tell anyone, I'm actually avoiding work right now, but that builds in today's video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Now is the perfect time since I'm right in the middle of it, and I'm talking today about closing the motivational gap. Now, one of the fascinating things we're able to see as we work with the fuels and the fuels assessments, especially seeing what the expectations might be for a workplace and then what that individual really brings to the table. 9 times out of 10, there's a distinct motivational gap. And what I mean by that is the requirements of the job, what the job is, how that job is measured for success, and then the basic culture of that workplace, what that direct manager especially really incentivizes. Those are all little milestones, little charging stations along the week of your work that if you're doing a job that you are curious about, that you're engaged by, if the work itself engages you, and the way you're measured is the best way you can be measured because that's where you'll score your best, and your boss is like, fantastic, that's what I like to see, you're probably going to be having a good time. But with every differentiation in priority between what they want and what you want, there becomes a motivational gap. Now, we have to close it. We have to at least more than break even. We can't be spending more emotional and motivational dollars than we're taking in. That's when people's performance really tanks, or they just get fired, quit, or end up working someplace else. So what can we do to close that gap? Well, there's only two options really, and I'm not talking carrot and stick. It's really just in the person. Is the manager going to close that gap, or is the individual? Sorry, geese. As long as they don't poop on me, I'm good. So for on the individual side, for you to close that motivational gap, that's where most people are talking about as far as hard work, as far as you being a professional, you just doing what it takes. And like I said, this is real, very real for me, because right now I'm building some statistic as to how hard it is to find some of these different dynamic range of talent as far as the individual and the job that they're trying to fill. At some point, we're going to pay money to have this automated, but for now I do it by hand, and really the job couldn't be easier, because I'm looking at one sheet of paper and finding the numbers, and then I'm matching it up with another graph that displays those numbers in ways that is important. The job literally couldn't be any easier, but I spent about 10 minutes doing it, and I already had to take a walk, because it's just so not what works, you know. And it's not like, oh, I don't want to, and oh, this isn't me as a worker. It's like, okay, something is not working. Whenever I try to put this in gear, it just goes, you know, I'm just something is broken inside of that machine. And that's not that there's something that there's wrong with the individual person. In fact, as you look at your own results, there's always more of what you're kind of blind to than what you can see clearly. We're human. It's just the nature of workers. It's the nature of dealing with people instead of robots or pieces of technology. There's always going to be motivational gaps. And even if in this example, the work literally couldn't be simpler, finding this number on this sheet of paper, finding out where it corresponds on this sheet of paper, and making a little tally mark, it literally couldn't be easier. And if someone was skilled in what we call accomplishment or initiative, or honor, where there's a job that needs to get going so they can get started right away with initiative, as they're checking every box they feel a little bit of a zap inside their battery and it charges up, or just honor that they're expected to do it and they feel good that they're doing it. I have a few of those in very low increments, so I get almost nothing internally out of it. And once again, it's not about some millennial search for happiness, but it's just a very real reality that for the individual in closing the motivational gap, the lower it is on your natural priority scale, the less return on investment that it's giving to you. And realistically, you're probably, like me, very slow at it. It's very monotonous, very tedious. Whereas someone else, for the exact same work, exact same paperwork, if they're engaged by those kinds of activities, guess what? They do it faster and with less energy expended. It's like, for me, it's like trying to go 60 miles an hour in gear one. It's loud, it uses up a lot of energy, and it's just obnoxious. And eventually it'll kill the engine. Now, on the employer side, to close that motivational gap, many times, especially when it gets accelerated, it's more like babysitting, where the person, every time you come back around to their workstation, they're going at a very slow pace. And internally, I can pretty much guarantee you what they're feeling is what I'm feeling, is that there's a job that needs to get done. I know it's attached to my name and my reputation. I do want to do it, but for whatever reason, it's just not there. Now, whether it's the desire to pay for your own bills or to be a good worker, we all have enough reasons to do the job. But if we can only do so much, let's say there's a 30-hour gap. Let's say it's a really bad alignment. I've had jobs like that, where, you know what, for all of the mismatched priorities, there's not much Andrew to go around for that week. Now, I can probably spend a good 6 or 7, maybe 10 hours like stretching, going beyond myself on a weekly basis, maybe even 15 if I've had a relatively good weekend. But there's going to be a remaining gap, and usually that will rely upon management if they truly want a top shelf performance, as if I was having a great week, or to match the performance of a great performer who is ideally matched to that position to get back up to that 40-50 hours a week. That means that a boss will have to spend roughly have to carrot and stick to the level that would close that remaining motivational gap. And many of you, as you're listening to this video, whether it's on the employer side or the employee side, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That as much as the worker can do to close that gap, there is a limit. And once they hit that limit, it's really either accepting their performance as is, or it's up to a manager to now babysit. So you can see the challenge, as I've been able to see by looking over the numbers and working with companies and individuals. It really is, the motivational gap is real. The struggle is real. And if you're looking to avoid it as an individual, please try to make use of our services. We can help you diagnose what might be wrong within your current position, some creative ways to overcome that motivational gap. Or if you're on the employer side and you're looking for people who need as little babysitting as possible, we do that every day. So hope this helps you understand that the motivational gap is real and where it might be coming from. And as always, comment, like, share, do your thing. We're here to help, and ask any questions if we can help further. Thank you so much. Bye.